Timberwolves had to separate Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson during this first half timeout. The two going back and forth before right there, Gobert throws a punch at Anderson. Gobert did not return to the game. Actually, I could hear them at halftime still screaming at each other in the Timberwolves locker room. The team ended up sending Gobert home. Shannon, how much do you blame Gobert for this?
I don't blame. The only thing I blame Rudy Gobert, he didn't punch Kyle Anderson in the face. Because if he said what they uttered, he said that Kyle told me to shut up, B.
Yeah.
Don't punch him in his chest.
Shut the F up, B.
Punch him in his face.
Yeah.
Skip, the thing is, like, if you're going to be a leader, you need to understand how to motivate the guys that you're asked to lead. Skip, I believe I could get my point across instead of saying, hey, Rod, catch the effing ball. Come on, guys, we got to make these plays now. we left some plays out.
Big difference.
You see?
Yes.
All Cal, hey, Rudy, come on, baby. We need those. Hey, we need those boards, babe. No rebounds, no rings, baby. Come on, Rudy. Hey, Rudy, get a rebound. So what did he expect them to say? You come at the guy out of nowhere like that. I get it, they say, and that's his style. There was a report there, the beat writer did a report of his style of leadership. And Rudy said, hey, it's coming from a good place. It's all love. He wants the best, yada, yada, yada. But nah, it ain't coming from no good place. You called me out my name. You called me a B. That ain't coming from no good place. So, like I said, everybody wants to lead. I want to lead. I want to lead. But do you understand how to lead? I just believe he could have went to Rudy. Hey, Rudy, come on, baby. We need those boards now. Hey, come on now. We got to get these boards.
Yeah.
But then you go, hey, Rudy, grab a rebound. So Rudy smart back. Hey, no, he said Rudy blocked some shots. Rudy told him.
That's how it started.
Yeah. Hey, you grab some rebounds.
Yeah.
And then you shut up, B? Nah, I ain't got no problem with look, I understand there's frustration, Skip. That this is an opportunity. We get an opportunity to make the play in. The Pelicans, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was winning at that point in time of the game, Skip. And maybe they didn't think Rudy was
they're down 12 to the Pelicans.
The effort maybe wasn't there.
Yep.
But even if the effort isn't there, I believe, and that's the part, Skip, and I took great knowing some guys you got to kick in the butt.
Yep.
Some guys you put your arm around them. Some guys, you make you tell a funny story. Hey, bro, my granny could have caught that one. But you have to understand, Skip, push, pull, poke, prod, what each individual needs. You cannot lead everybody the exact same way. This ain't the military. Whatever, hey, give me 50 and do this and do that. Nah, bro, come on now. No. But hey, the only thing I blame Rudy for, Rudy punched him in his chest, and he had a clean shot at his dome.
Okay. First order of business is, I didn't even consider that a punch. I know everybody's calling it a punch.
You shove.
It's an open-handed shove in the shoulder.
Yeah, he didn't really want to. He didn't
want any part of it. No. You know, and I know, when Draymond decided that Jordan Poole was going down, he was going down. For whatever reason, we're going to talk about Draymond versus Rudy here in a few minutes. But when Draymond decided to punch Jordan Poole in the face, he jacked him in the face. Right?
Right.
If Rudy Gobert, who's 7 feet 1 inches tall with long arms, if he'd really wanted to do some damage here, he would have done some damage. You know it, and I know it. Of course. You also know this is not what Rudy Gobert is made of. I didn't think it was what Kyle Anderson is made of, because he was on my Spurs for a number of years. He never said boo to anybody. It was just like he was the quietest Spur. And when we talk about leadership, I'm not sure, just because he's been around.
Yeah, that's what.
He's a veteran.
So I'm thinking the same thing. Like, hold on, what did he do to become in a leadership role? But it's because, like you said, he played a number of years with your Spurs, so he might get defaulted.
Memphis.
He might be leader by default. He has the most tenure in the league.
Okay, so this was an ESPN report, and to your point, it starts off with Kyle just trying to motivate him, saying, hey, you need to block some shots, because he had blocked none at that point. They were down 12. Okay, I don't know exactly how that was said, but whatever. And then Rudy didn't love that. And so he fires back, well, you need to get some bleeping rebounds.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. But then it escalates to your point, and this is from the ESPN report. Kyle Anderson responds to that with, shut the F up, B word.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that came from a very deep place, because I think a lot of people in this league think he plays like the B word.
Of course,
right?
yes.
That's been the knock on him. That's been the book on him. And what do you always say? he's the classic shot blocker. You just attack his chest.
Right.
You just go right into his chest because he's teetering. He's going to fall backwards. Has he ever impressed you as an intimidator, as a bully on the floor? There's not that, because he's a very nice man. I mean, the most notoriety he ever got, every time Ernestine, my wife Ernestine, walks by the TV and sees Rudy Gobert, she says, super spreader. It's a super spreader. Remember, he's touching on, when everybody was talking about you got COVID, nobody knew anything about it.
He shut the NBA down.
Yeah, and he's touching up all the, and the next thing I know, was it the next night?
Yes.
They're the team, they're at Oklahoma City, they started it, okay? So is that all you got on your resume? Well, he's got some defensive player.
He got 3 of those.
Okay, he's got 3 of them. But the problem is Charles Barkley started it, everybody condemned a trade. So it took Minnesota deciding, hey, we got no chance here if we play no defense. So they obviously lost to Memphis. They battled with them for, what was it, 6 games last year in the first round.
And they had them down a bunch of those games.
They had them down a bunch of those games, and Pat Bev was firing them up. And when it ended, people who managed the T-Wolves said, we need somebody to protect our rim. Well, who's the ultimate defensive player of the year rim protector? We need to go get him. At what cost? Well, how about 4 first-round picks? How about swapping another first-round pick? And then it's like a parade of players exit, and it's going through Utah, but you give up Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. It wasn't D'Angelo because he was through another deal back to the Lakers. But who am I forgetting? Pat Bev was part of that. And
you end up swapping because you end up letting Walker Kessler.
Kessler he's become a key to it because he was an igniter for Utah's run.
And you might have been better keeping him.
You might have
letting him protect.
Okay, I got it. And everybody sat back and said, I know Charles Barkley called it the worst trade in NBA history. And I'm thinking, Charles, have you forgotten how the Lakers stole Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? You'd almost have to say that was the worst. Or how about when my Spurs stole Kawhi Leonard? For George Hill, and they threw in Davis Bertans.
And you know how they stole Pau Gasol also.
Okay, there's another one. Okay, but whatever. It looks in impact, in totality, it looks like, what are you thinking? Because it's a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, Skip, but I think the thing is, like, look, I just believe if he just say, hey, come on, Rudy. It's like I said, I believe the tone. And sometimes, Skip, you know, you're in the heat of the moment, and the tone is not always going to be perfect. But no matter what the situation is, I'm on what you on. If we vibing, I'm vibing. You on some bull jive, I'm on some bull jive. What we on? Because whatever we doing, we do it.
Yeah.
You not finna talk to me crazy. You think you think just because we're in the heat of a moment, a battle of a football or a basketball or a baseball game, you can call me a B and, oh, man, he ain't mean it like that, bro. You know, it's sometimes emotion. No.
What was the beginning of the end of Kevin Durant and Golden State? It was Draymond versus Kevin on the bench at a Clippers game.
So you on some bull jive, I'm on some bull jive.
There you go. So, to Jen's point, they then adjourned to the halftime locker room, and they're still going at it.
Yeah.
And Chris Finch or somebody, maybe the GM, got involved, and they said, Rudy, that's enough, go home. So they send him home. And he immediately gets on the text chain with his teammates and profusely apologizes, and then he tweeted, emotions got the best of me today, and he went on and on about saying all the right things. And I believe they came from his heart, which is a good heart. Right? So given all of that, even though it looks terrible because it's caught, as you always say, once you get it on tape, it's a firestorm all over the internet. And it escalated into Rudy Gobert punched Kyle. He punched him? I don't think he punched him at all. It was like an open-handed shove to the shoulder. Okay, he was making his point. You're not going to call me the B word. You're okay with that. I'm real okay with that. So I'm okay if they let Gobert play. I'm not trying to tilt the balance of power between the Lakers. But I just think this is one you move on from.
I think to keep it from escalating, Skip, especially in the locker room, Rudy, just go ahead and get out of here.
Just go home.
Skip, they said Rudy gave an interview with the Star Tribune Saturday. This is before the Sunday game. Kyle wants to win, and sometimes he's a little aggressive in the way he talks. But I don't take it personally. I receive it in a positive way because it comes from a place of wanting me to be the best Rudy I can be, wanting us to win. I love his competitiveness, love the way he plays the game, the way he makes others around him better. He's been a huge part of this year. Calling your teammate the B word is not coming from a good place. It's not trying to get the best out of me. You're trying to get something out of me, but you don't want what's going to come out of me.
Okay. So, big picture yesterday, I was surprised and I was impressed that Minnesota at home was able to keep it together and pull it off. And it was Ant-Man who played big. He had 4 blocks and 4 steals. And
that one on CJ.
Ooh, well, that was the game changer. In fact, thank you for bringing that up, because let's see that final sequence, because CJ, I don't know what CJ was thinking, but CJ breaks for the basket, and I think he was going to try to slam it.
Yeah, he was going to two-hand, but he definitely didn't see Ant.
No, you got no shot there, and look at the sequence. So they come down. Okay, so now we got Mike Conley, and he's going to flip it.
Right,
nope, that was Ant-Man. Yeah, okay. And then there's another steal, and then it's back to Ant-Man, and he and-ones it, and that was the whole game. You just saw the whole game, because when CJ breaks for the basket, it's a 2-point game.
Yeah.
So if he can somehow navigate Ant-Man, it's going to be a tie game.
And the thing was, Skip, you could see, like, if he'd have tried to lay it up in Ant-Man block, you're like, well, CJ, why didn't you dunk that? But he tried to.
He tried to.
Ant-Man came out of nowhere and like, no.
But seriously, CJ versus Ant-Man in midair, who's going to win that one?
Hey, you got to come with some force.
Okay. And then Ant-Man goes down and he gets his pocket picked. And then all of a sudden, it's Mike Conley picks it back, okay, and gives it back to Ant-Man for an and one. And it's just a crazed, chaotic flurry that basically ends the game in favor of the home team.
Right.
So I give them high credit for that. But I'm going to remind everybody, now we do have Minnesota at Los Angeles tomorrow night. And you remember what happened 10 days ago on a Friday night at Minnesota?
Right.
Do you remember what? Speaking of AD, sometimes he's always disappointing. Sometimes he's all day. Do you remember what he did in that game? I'm looking at the box score.
Yeah, he was a monster.
38 and 17 with 2 blocks and a steal. He was sensational.
Yep.
And in the fourth quarter, he scores 17 to the rest of the team scoring 16. LeBron had 6 in the fourth quarter. It's fine. LeBron had kind of a quiet night. It's good enough. It's 18 and 10.
Right.
He gave you 10 assists.
Right.
But you know who the assists are going to?
AD.
That guy.
Yeah.
Okay? And that inspired Darvin Ham after the game to say that when he plays with that kind of force in the paint, we can go a long ways, right?
You can.
Okay, well, that's pretty much what it.
But I think the thing is, Skip, he knows that Karl Anthony Towns and him, they have a private battle. They'll never utter it, but I'm the best big out of Kentucky. No, you're not. I'm the best big. And Karl Anthony Towns is going. If you watch Karl Anthony Towns the way he plays when he plays Anthony Davis, he goes at it. And AD said, not today, bro. Enough of this. Remember the last time they went down there, Cat destroyed him. And I'm like, AD, you let this man do this?
But he's going to have to destroy it from distance, because I don't think he can destroy you in your face.
Well, the thing was, he was shooting threes, and then he was putting the ball on the floor. You remember how he was yelling because he was mic'd up? No, he's blocking shots. He was on one that night.
He was.
AD made it a point of emphasis. I'm the baddest thing from Kentucky playing in the NBA currently.
Okay, I got it. But listen, he can't hold candle to your man when your man decides.
Well, I need him to decide. Well, I hope he decides.
Here's the Darvin quote. This is after that game 10 days ago at Minnesota. He said, when he's not settling and he's putting pressure on the paint, putting pressure on the rim, we find ourselves having a lot of success. That quote is the essence of who you are and can be.
Right.
That's who you have to be going forward. And if that quote applies game after game after game through this, you're going to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, I hope so. But, Skip, you remember that game, Rudy Gobert, all of a sudden, Rudy Gobert hitting jumpers. He putting the ball on the floor. I was like, oh, look, Rudy, that ain't what you do. No. All of a sudden, he found some life that he wanted to be. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to be Giannis.
Okay. What did Rudy do that whole night? So he played 31 minutes. He had 14 points and 11 rebounds with no block shots. Okay.
Good.
You annihilated him, right? And you can do that to him. And again, are they going to be inspired or distracted by this whole Rudy thing? I think they're going to be distracted. And you pointed out what happened to Jaden McDaniels. I mean, it's horrendous loss. He's one of the top perimeter defenders in the league. He's a top 10 defender. He, even more than Rudy, made them much better. They're now 11th overall defensively when they were hapless and hopeless last year. Well, you smash your hand, you're gone. You can't tell me that's going to take some heart out of this team.
Of course it is.
Right?
But I mean, that's sometimes you have to learn how to control your emotions. I don't know, hitting the wall, I get the frustration. I mean, just open-handed, but don't punch it.
You just can't. I mean, who hadn't hit a wall? Who hadn't hit something with their hand? But you just can't.
Asking for trouble.
You're asking for trouble.
Emotions were certainly high in that first half, no doubt, guys. The Timberwolves